E aí galera, beleza? Aqui é o Auro, como vocês estão? Espero que bem. E hoje eu tô trazendo pra vocês o primeiro vídeo aqui de uma preview de Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis. Foi postado há 10 horas pela IGN. Eles tiveram a oportunidade de testar. Eu não sei se foi na Summer Game Fest, não tenho certeza. Mas vamos ver o vídeo aí. Tô com a legenda aqui, vamos ver qual é que é. Tô muito ansioso pra esse jogo, tá? Sou muito fã de Tomb Raider.
Chances are you've played one of Lara Croft's many adventures, or at least one of the cinematic action adventures that her original 1996 expedition inspired, whether that be the Uncharted, Horizon, or Star Wars Jedi series. But now it's time to go all the way back as Legacy of Atlantis takes us full circle in a reimagining of the story that kickstarted an entire genre.
Tá bonito o jogo, hein, cara?
We recently had the opportunity to play through its short water puzzle, cartwheel and dinosaur shootout filled demo, which certainly felt familiar, albeit with a gorgeous new lick of paint and more modern tweaks sprinkled in.
Olha, velho. Nunca joguei o original, tá? Então não sei. Eu não lembro se tinha esse sensorzinho. Já vi o vídeo do Zangado. Olha que da hora, mano.
30 years is a long time, especially in the rapidly evolving world of video games. And if you've picked up a controller and attempted to play the original Tomb Raider recently, nothing emphasizes that like how Lara Croft controls. Stiff and heavy, with your thumbs the victim of her sluggish turning circle, Lara's maneuverability resembles that of a transatlantic ocean liner more than an enterprising Atlantis explorer. Thankfully, this remake, co-developed by the series' long-term custodian Crystal Dynamics and newcomer
Caralho, o cara fala muito rápido, mano.
fixes this. This Lara is light on her feet, with a floaty jump more reminiscent of Princess Peach than Nathan Drake. It takes a little getting used to at first, especially if you've become accustomed to the adhesive-fingered approach that Naughty Dog
cara, tá muito bonito o jogo, velho.
adventure game, which was the foundation for Tomb Raider's most recent Survivor trilogy.
Stunning. Nossa, essa trilogia é muito bom, velho.
This Lara still clings on to some of the old school movement feel of the PS1 original, something that admittedly proved a bit of a struggle during the demo's early moments, but in time we found this freer feeling Lara enjoyable to control, even if her jumps did make us wonder if the Lost Valley in Peru had become some sort of zero-gravity zone. Ultimately, its more old-school influenced approach helps build into the idea that you're truly exploring an environment rather than clambering along a set path. The small area of jungle we were dropped into contained one of the classic cog and water puzzles that Lara has worked her way through dozens of times over the years. Using a full exploration suite of climbing, swimming and grappling around a miniature sandbox, we went in search of the missing machine component.
Caralho, tá bonito pra caramba, velho.
Blocking Lara's progress. Helpful here was the brand new
Podia liberar essa demo pra gente, né, mano? Meros mortais.
Spider-Man style. These are age-old puzzles design-wise, but made modern by smart additions like this grapple. Tweaks such as these really display Legacy of Atlantis' desire to be more than just a remake, borrowing from the likes of Crystal Dynamics' recent trilogy and how it approaches Lara's toolkit.
Decoration or spare part?
A further addition is the number of collectibles littered throughout the world and the ability to survey the environment in search of the secrets using Lara's scanner. From what we can tell, Legacy of Atlantis is still a largely linear adventure, but venturing off the rewards you with all sorts of treasures, whether they be documents that build out the lore of an ancient civilization, or objects that grant Lara extra skill points. Unfortunately, the skill tree menu was locked off to us in the demo, so we can't tell exactly how we'll be able to tweak her abilities, but its mere existence is again a sign of newfound depth. And that all makes sense because although Legacy of Atlantis is a retelling of the British adventurer's first story, it's actually part of the same universe now as the prequel trilogy that ran between 2013 and 2018.
It's the only thing that makes sense to me now.
This isn't her first rodeo, and she boasts the skills to show for it. This is best displayed in combat, of which we got a tiny taste after stepping through the huge doorway opened up by the aforementioned cog-finding problem-solving. It was on the other side that we were welcomed by a gang of hungry velociraptors, a far more vicious resident of Peru than Paddington Bear. That's probably for the best, though,
Machadinho dela.
unleashing multiple rounds into one of
Ó, tem
Britain's most
esquiva.
adorable imports would have probably led to a lot
As
of
duas
crying.
pistolinhas básicas dela
Thankfully,
do
then, it
jogo
was the
clássico.
job of one of Britain's most deadly exports
que
to
ângulo,
take
hein?
on these prehistoric menaces instead, dodging, cartwheeling, and backflipping out
Caralho.
of the way of their deadly lunges. Get enough room between them and you'll be able to fire those iconic double pistols that handily come complete with unlimited ammo. The shooting
munição
felt snappy
infinita, igual
and
no clássico, mano. Isso é
but
bom.
really came alive once another new skill up Lara's non-existent sleeves was introduced. The focus system. Look, we don't have that much footage, so I'm just going to show you all that again, right? Performing well-timed acrobatics during combat and evading enemies at the right time builds up the focus meter, filling up charges that can be used with a quick press of the right bumper. Upon doing so, she stylishly spins into the air and enters bullet time, allowing you to unload
Ela tem que
full
acumular alguma
magazines into
coisa ali.
enemies as they practically freeze in the line of fire. It's a great addition to the action, further bringing these classic fights into the modern age while giving Lara a welcome edge in encounters.
Só espero que a mira tenha uma mirinha ali pra você mexer, tá ligado? Não seja automático, senão vai ser muito pai automático. Mas na minha opinião, né?
Ghost series grants you devastating attacks and abilities at the cost of using more than one circle of energy.
Ah, entendi. Ele fez a comparação com o Ghost of Utah ali, eu acho, ou Ghost of Tsushima, não sei.
Before we could
Acho que é Ghost
experiment
of
too
Utah que
much
fez
with Tomb
comparação.
Raider's own take on Gun Fu, a rude interruption was made as one of the series' most iconic moments took over the scene. Into the arena stepped a towering T-Rex, which made both Lara and her previous foes flee the scene with haste. We're having to use footage from Anniversary to illustrate this because we weren't given B-roll of the new T-Rex segment, but we can say the sequence has undergone a complete facelift, translating the primitive capabilities of the original PlayStation into something entirely more cinematic. Rather than a simple shooting affair, the scene now begins with a playable chase down a treacherous jungle pathway as Lara slides, swings, and clambers to escape its sharp-toothed maw. There's a great sense of
Caralho, tá muito bonito o jogo, velho.
and effective use of slow motion as Lara slides between the dinosaur's legs, mirrored by a great sense of muddled bewilderment and desperation in the voice of Alex Wilton Reagan, the latest actor to pick up the dual.
Pera, galera. Eu preciso ver essa cena de novo, mano.
Reagan, the latest actor.
Que isso, mano? Que isso, mano? Voz de Alex Wilton Reagan. Que isso, velho. Que moça bonita, hein? Tá louco, velho.
To pick up the dual pistols.
Parabéns pra ela, velho.
And partway through this attempted escape is where our time with Legacy of Atlantis ended, as Lara plunged into a river, her rope bridge escape route destroyed by the T-Rex.
T-Rex. Mano, esse realmente é um jogo que merece remake, né, cara? 30 anos, velho. Tá maluco,
A short but varied look at what this latest reboot of Tomb Raider has to offer, and so far it feels like all the necessary ingredients are there. At its core, the design attempts to blend the classic feel of Lara Croft's movement with a more modern approach to combat and exploration.
This figure they're worshipping, could it be Qualipec?
What more could you ask for? We're looking forward to see how all that comes together when Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis arrives on February 12th, 2027 for PlayStation 5,
longe ainda, velho.
Xbox Series X and S, PC, and Nintendo Switch 2. You could play it in the Peruvian jungles, imagine that. For more on Tomb Raider, why not check out our exclusive behind the scenes clip? And for everything else Lara Croft, stick with IGN.
I can only trust you with this.
É isso. Bom, galera, curtiu o que eu vi aqui, pena que foi pouquinho, mas achei bem interessante. Bom, é isso, era isso que eu tinha pra mostrar pra vocês hoje. Espero que tenham gostado do vídeo. Se gostou, deixa o like, comente, compartilhe, se inscreva no canal e fala aí se você tá ansioso por esse jogo igual eu. Tamo junto, fiquem com Deus e